Mikey,
Yo.
how's it going? How's it going?
Oh, it's going.
It's
It's
going.
definitely going.
Yes, yes. First of all, we want to say welcome to everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out and joining us and being a part of these amazing, memorable times in which we live. You guys know me. I'm Inked and my amazing partner in crime, Mr. Mike Patriot. Best thing that's happened to me in this lifetime from TikTok. Anyways, Mikey, how are you on this fine Tuesday?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just got myself a plate of some steak, some yellow rice, and some cooked up sauteed mushrooms. So that's pretty decent.
All
But
right.
you
So
know,
let the people know what we're talking about today.
oh yeah. And here's the exact reason why I'm not doing too good. Um, we have recently, some recent developments between the World Health Organization, the United States, the United Nations, and the World Economic Forum. They all seem to be working in tandem, and there is a big push right now for the United States to amend a pandemic preparedness plan that George Bush put forth in 2005. That was effectively like a partnership agreement between the World Health Organization and the United States. And the amendments that they're putting forth takes away all power from state parties and gives it directly to the Director General of the World Health Organization. Um, so for those that can't, dissect what I'm saying, it's globalism on a very heavy scale under the guise of health security and climate change and all of the things that they've been telling us. It's the Great Reset. It's one world governance. It's exactly what my background depicts, except for without the people overthrowing it. It's that. It's that in pure black and white. And so it's scary. It's really unnerving to see it find like now. It's unequivocal. It's not just theorizing. It's not just, again, it's the same thing like with the election.
Hey,
It's not just it's not just theorizing, and it's not intuition any longer. It's tangible evidence. And now we're at a point of what do we do from here?
so let's break it down. Let's talk about these amendments
Yeah.
and exactly what they're trying to change and what they're trying to gain. So we know they want power,
Right.
um, and we know changing the verbiage of certain, you know, information within will give them power to do what, Mikey?
To do anything. I mean, and I don't mean to sound like I'm like I'm not trying to be like vague and like, fear mongering, but I mean, these amendments take all all possible responsibility, power over decision making away from the state party as is put in the legislation, and they're striking that from the record, and they are filling that with World Health Organization Director General. So it's all encompassing. It has to do with surveillance. It has to do with physical putting things and implementing them, putting them into action. It has to do with consequences being put for those that are dissenters. Forced vaccination, whether the World Health, as long as the World Health Organization deems it as necessary, they can force vaccinate an entire populace, no matter what the people say. They can
And
tell
I think
you,
it's important that people understand that, like, essentially, so what they did with COVID essentially would be what they would use to
yep,
gain control over us. So there would
yep,
be essentially another pandemic in which they would create. and then they would use that to then come in and put their power over us, which
Right.
would take away our elections,
Right.
which means they could appoint whomever they wanted into power.
Right.
And so as many people they would like to say, and they don't believe, oh well, we don't think anything is going to happen, this is real.
Right.
And nothing like this has happened before, so they've never tried that we could find any ways to amend like they are now. Correct? I'm correct, right?
Right. Right.
Okay.
It's like I said, they know exactly what they're striking from the record and what they're replacing. There's a lot of striking of the word may and now instituting the word shall. Those are two different things, right?
Yeah.
You may do something as you have the option. You shall do something is an order. It's
So in the grand scheme of things, because we talked about this today, we
right.
talked about it for a long time today. Ultimately, you think you feel what?
Like I said, this is scary. This right here is nerve-wracking because this could be it. This could be their end game card right here. This could be their trump card. This could be whatever anybody wants to refer it as. Right here. If this passes, they have a free for all at that moment to where if anything goes sideways, to where they deem that it's the scales are too tipped to one side against their favor, they can just hit this red button and the UN and the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum run everything. Talk about stalling, talk about not wanting an election to take place, to bring an unprecedented loss and a tide shift that they refuse to allow to have happen. Implement globalism. Implement globalism and let me know when the next election will be.
So when we talked about today, the analogy with the animal,
Right.
And backing us into a corner,
Right.
giving us no options, basically saying, this is what it is, right? The cage is going to drop. So, like you said today, we spent a lot of time being distracted. So, we've spent a lot of time looking to the right, looking to the left, but we didn't spend any time looking up, right? So, let's talk about the distractions and let's talk about kind of how we got to this point. Because, like you said, you thought that you were digging deep. You thought, hey, I'm paying attention. I see what's going on. I'm aware of what's happening and what they're trying to do. But in the dark, when, like you say, up in the sky, there was this brewing. So now, what is it? 2 weeks, 10 days out before this vote happens.
12 days. Yep.
Right. There is this mad dash to figure it out. So let's talk about it. We had COVID.
Yep. Yep. We had
what? Vaccines.
Yep.
We had Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
We had what is her name? The trial.
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard or
yeah,
Ghislaine.
Yep. And then we had what else? We had voter fraud.
Right.
What else do we have?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yep. The border.
Yeah, the border. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The stuff on what? Russia, Ukraine.
Russia, Ukraine, everything with the Biden administration, all of these scandals with the Biden administration, the Hunter Biden laptop, the communications between Joe Biden and the Ukrainian president, the Biden administration with Psaki, all of that, everything that we've been paying attention to.
Right. And now, like, in the chat, they're saying like, yeah, because essentially the peso is now worth more than the dollar. And we talked about that today too, like even like as far as like something being broken out as far as like Mexico, the US, and Canada all being inclusive as one.
Right. Because
Now,
that's how they view us. They view us as per region. That's why they wanted to make us the North American Union. They wanted to dissolve our borders and look at us as one clump of land. And that's how they will continue to view us because that
right.
is how they've always perceived us.
So right now from the chat, COVID was just a test on how the
Oh,
world would react to when submitted to control. We talked about that today.
yep.
They never, first of all, they never anticipated pushback on vaccines. They thought that we would just comply and roll over and let them stab us 70 times if that was what they wanted to do. And I agree wholeheartedly. It was a test. It was a test to see just how much they could control the world because it was happening
Right.
all over the world. It wasn't happening just here, it was happening
Right.
all over the entire world. Never did they think people would push back. They always thought everyone would just roll over and comply. So at this point now, and like I told you today, I mean, essentially, I'm Sarah Connor and you're my kid. And, Gen X, us, we're going to set it up and then it's your job to save the world. I mean,
Right.
I don't mean to put that kind of pressure on you.
Right. And no pressure at all.
But I mean, essentially, that's like, if you
No,
look
I
at
know.
how Terminator was, right?
Yeah.
It was like about power and control over
Right.
the people.
Right. And a
And
preparation being set up for the
yes,
child to be able to kind of take up that role.
yes.
No, I definitely get the analogy. It's just fuck. Fuck. Like for the first time since I've become awake, like fuck. We thought we were on it. We thought we were so close. We thought we were nipping at their heels. And now we just get shown by the same people that they've been 5, 10 steps ahead of us the whole time, sitting back observing. They knew we were going to find out about this when we did. They knew we did. They already had the first round of hearings done.
Yeah. Because that was in April, right?
Right. So now they've said whatever they wanted to say in private. Now when you pay attention in June, you'll get some. You'll get what they want you to hear. This is the part that's so frustrating. We realize we're in a war. We realize we're in a battle. We know who we're up against. And these motherfuckers always get one ahead of us and then sit back and just get to observe the utter chaos that ensues. And we get to pay the price.
But if you look around all over the world, I'm reading the chat, some people are standing against the tyranny in the other nations. When will Americans? When do the people of the world win? That's a great question. Ultimately, I feel like we're close, right? So we're there. And
I feel like we're close to either outcome. Definitely
Brian
either outcome.
said that he's your daddy.
Fucking Brian.
But yeah, so I do feel like the people of I think Americans are getting it. I do. I think we're slowly coming around, but there's been nothing like this before, right? So like, how do you get to a place where you can say, oh, we've been close in history, right? But never to this extent, never to the place where they're literally trying to break down what we know as Americans.
And it's because, like you said, we're close to the other outcome too. We're close to my background here. Yeah. We're very close to that because we're aware. Right. We are noticeable. We know who it is. We know who we're after now, but that's why we're also very close to the other outcome. Because this has been, like I said, this is their failsafe. This is their, if anything goes sideways and doesn't go to plan for them and the people don't fall toe in line, do this.
Right.
Put blue hats on the soil.
Right.
Put allegiance of people that are militant on the soil that hold no allegiance to any constitution or any nation as a whole. And that's
oh, see, under Hitler, this was his agenda. And I keep saying it, and I've said it, and I've said it, and I've said it. And even someone said, instead of knowing morals and how to protect themselves, you are looking for the younger generation for help. We lost. They're saying that's why they're trying to soften our children. And ultimately, if you really think about it, and the truth be told, that's exactly where we're at, right? So, and again, that's another distraction. The quote unquote "don't say gay" bill.
Right.
That's
Right.
another distraction. So it's
Right.
like I
Any
guess.
politician, any politician that isn't talking about this and hasn't been, and guess what, guys? That's every politician is bad right now in my book. Like they have a demerit against them because this is being voted on in 12 days and they're still doing their regular run of the mill campaigning for midterms. Like it's just average. Like it's just another election. If you're not talking about the World Health Organization and the United Nations and the World Economic Forum and disavowing them as your platform to run, you're not what we need. You're not what we need right now.
So let's talk about that. Everyone's involved then. Do you think it's a system of denial?
I don't think I don't think it's necessarily everybody's involved, but I think that there are still a lot of people that are refusing to see the writing on the wall for what it is. And they still want to run for political office thinking that they're running for the dog and pony show in which that they've been shown in public and from the media, from how politics work. That's what I think. I think there's still not enough people that are running on platforms of strong and firm set. We are pushing against the establishment. We are not going to let this go. There's a couple, might be a few, but there's not a majority.
But why? I mean, honestly, like there's a lot of people who are truly like naive. That's true. We lost our patriotism. And that's true because a lot of people do not believe in America anymore, like as a whole, right? So like we get it all the time. Like, when was America great? Right? Like
Right,
so, and we talked about that today. Like you say, when our phones aren't charging, or the internet is slow, or
right,
what I'm saying? Like,
right.
and
First world problems. We
first
have
world problems.
first
And
world
remember when you
problems.
said the agenda is to make us all suffer equally across the board, right? So like how it is in the worst of the worst would be like how it is they would want us all to be
Right,
equal across the
right.
board. So it's like I don't think people really understand the importance of I I honestly I think we've taken our freedom for granted.
Almost definitely.
Right.
Most
So it's
definitely.
like, people are like, oh, they can't do this, or oh, they can't do that, or oh, they can't do this. But they showed us with COVID what they can do, what they
Right.
will do to get
Well, the
control over the people.
right. And the worst part is that, and this is what I've been experiencing through lives trying to talk about this, is that so many people want to hold on to these divisive topics. I was talking to somebody in D-Ron's live about this, and he was like, well, you got to realize that we can't come to the table and trust your community because your community's been slaughtering us. And he's talking about me being white. And I'm like, bro, it doesn't matter at this. Like, even if what you're saying is true, which it's not, right? Because it's never been on an unprecedented high scale that the
Right.
white community has ever targeted the black community. But even fucking if what he was saying was true, guess what? Doesn't matter. Does not matter, because you want to know what's really gonna not matter at that point? Race, when everybody's subjugated the same. Gender, not gonna matter. Communism, capitalism, socialism, not gonna matter. None of it's gonna matter, but people want to hold on to these topics and argue with each other because they don't want to see the bigger picture. And then when you show them the bigger picture, they tell you it's not that deep.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. You're right about that. Well, because it's a selfish mindset mentality, right? So it's like this is a problem that I can make my own because in some way I feel like I can relate to it, right? So what's the easiest thing to do is attack you on your face, right? So they say, "Oh, Mikey, you're white," right? So they're first of all they're assuming you're white. Let's just start there. They're making an assumption that you're white.
Right.
And then secondly, they it's easy, like, right, like we talked about, everyone's talking about abortions, right? Everyone's like talking about this issue that doesn't really exist. So it's like this Roe v. Wade thing, right? It's like on the tips of
Right.
everyone's lips right now, and
Right.
everyone wants to debate it. But what we're finding and what we're seeing, and even in the chat, like, people are not aware of what's happening in the world itself. So like they're buying up gold, they're buying up silver, like people are not paying attention to actually what's going on outside of their
Right.
little bubble of the United States of America, right?
Right.
Everyone is just immersed in, you know, women's health of abortion, essentially. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, oh, it said, we said what they can't do with COVID, but they did. We pushed and voted, but they still did what they wanted to do. And in the end, we needed to be militant, unfortunately. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, right? So with COVID, right, there was those of us who never, ever were there, right? We were just like, fuck off. We're not listening to your bullshit. Something is not right.
Right.
But remember when I said to you, I said, why did no one ever question why are they doing this, right? Like people were
Right.
just running down there at the CVS, making their appointments, getting shit shoved up their nose, getting things poked in their bodies. And no one ever said, why are they pushing this so hard? Why are they doing this? And then now, as the information starts to come out and unfold, we're starting to see that what they said wasn't exactly the truth. Oh, you know what I
Right.
noticed, Mikey? We don't have our background.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I just had my green screen background, and I was like,
Let
"Oh,
me
that's good."
see. Watch. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
So yeah, so it's like we never even, a lot of people never questioned it, right? They just conformed and they just followed suit. I think what makes me the most nervous is how many people are willing to be controlled.
Right.
So the question of the hour is, are those the people who are going to go down and we're going to be the ones left because they just conformed and went along with the okie doke?
I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's anything where a specific group of people are going to be left. I mean, obviously, I do think that there's obviously a plan or a systemic plan, but I think that, like I was telling you on the phone, they don't view America in their future plans. They don't. They don't view America as the main populace of the 500 million, right? They have specific designations for the ethnicities and the national ties, even though there won't be a thing when this is implemented, that they want to have for the new world order. They want to have a specific demographic of people that are generationally used to subjugation and being under authority, right, and being under authoritarianism. That is what they want. People can argue me, like I was uh, uh, kind of arguing with somebody on TikTok earlier today because she's very aware. She's very, aware of what's going on and stuff like that. But she was trying to tell me that they don't want the ones that will just comply. And I'm like, that's a lie. It's outlined in their agendas clearly, clearly in Agenda 2030, in the Kissinger report, all of that. Agenda 21, it's all outlined who they still want here. And it's not us. It's not us, because Americans are the thorn in the side of globalists and always have been. Going back to our founding fathers, they gave their lives to fight against the red shields and the central banking system because they knew their country was trying to be taken over, hostile takeover, and they wouldn't let it happen. And then they died out, and what happened? That hostile takeover turned into subversion and insurgents by night infiltration. We lost our country to it. And now we have to reap the bitter and rotten fruit that is coming from those very evil seeds that were planted well before my lifetime.
Yeah. The Great Awakening will be in full effect.
Right?
And
Right. Well, that's,
when the
well, yeah.
society will rise in mass forces. Huh?
I mean, it's gonna. I mean, yeah. I pray, I pray that that is how it goes, because it's gonna be to a point where it doesn't matter if it's a great awakening or not. Nobody's gonna be able to deny it, and it's not gonna be in a good way. It's not, you know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
this shit really goes through, I'm not trying to be the doom gloom guy today, but I really don't know where my mind's at with this, because the Great Awakening sounds great, but at the same time, if it takes for them to introduce global enslavement to get people to wake up, guess what? We've lost.
Right.
We've lost. And it's all been for naught. And it's all been an evil plan in the beginning to keep you sedated, comfortable, complacent, thinking good guys are behind the scenes, working and fighting for the good fight. Meanwhile,
So with this situation with the WHO and the amendments, I think a lot of people need to really understand truly, truly. So when you start to break it down, it's like, so it's any global pandemic.
yep. Well, it doesn't have to be a global. Well, it doesn't have to be a global. It's just anything that gets released from a country that is considered a pandemic. They can immediately implement that in the entire region in which that the disease was located from. So,
Okay,
like I said,
so here, we'll just say here. So then it
mhm,
could be us, Canada, and Mexico.
right.
So when you say anything, it could be what? Energy, it could be
No, I'm saying like with they could release just an avian flu. It
okay.
doesn't even. This is the thing, is it doesn't have to be this crazy deadly virus. Which I mean, they could do it if they wanted to, because they don't give a fuck about us. But it doesn't have to be this crazy deadly virus. They could literally release a bird flu, a swine flu, that just has a little bit more effectiveness than what COVID had, and they got it. And they got it. People have Stockholm syndrome so bad still in this country that they will willingly, even though they're fight the power and all of that, they will run to the government for an answer.
Well, yeah, because in the comments they just said people will bend over before they fight a good fight. And we saw it with COVID.
Yep.
It's still the fear, and now we see them coming back. Now we see them saying, hey, it's still here. Hey, there's going to be a new strong variant. Like they're starting to talk, oh, the hospitalizations are going up. So they're still trying to use COVID. They're still
Right.
declaring COVID a pandemic.
Right.
They still haven't let that title go, which says a lot. So what does that mean in 12 days? Right? If COVID's
Right.
still the pandemic, what does that mean?
Exactly.
What did it
That's
say?
why that's exactly what I'm saying, is they could just pull the rug. They could just say, oh, COVID's still around. Oh, blue hats, get in there. Force vaccinate the entire of the American population because they don't want to get vaccinated. Boom, blue hats, go. The United States already signed on to it. They said that we can. If we
Huey,
deem that it's a pandemic.
yeah, Huey P. Newton said it best: revolutionary suicide.
Yep.
Because we talked about that, remember? So they could put who Soros in power because you said it would
Right,
be
right.
the
Yeah,
elite, right?
Alexander. Yeah, I was saying Alexander Soros, because I don't think George Soros would go into power because he's too old. But if you want to put an elite that is an heir, put Alexander Soros in there. He's a little bit older than me. He'll be around for a while.
Because we were talking about because they have their own constitution, correct?
Yeah, the World Health Organization. Yep.
And it's their constitution that says they can appoint an elite. Is that correct? Am I wrong?
It's not. I don't know if it's necessarily in their constitution, but it's outlined within the World Economic Forum.
Forum. Oh, that's
The
right. That's
World
right. That's
Economic
right.
Forum. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
for like
Yeah.
the Great Reset, and for what Klaus Schwab said for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, is that they would install elite figures in key positions around the world to be able to enact what they want to enact. And the scariest part is that every single country that is in line with the World Economic Forum signaled to the people of the world at the same time. And it was during the 2020 election. At the same time, they all used the phrase build back better. They all used that phrase. They all talked about an unprecedented opportunity to reset the system. Boom, great reset. They
Yeah,
all
remember we talked
signaled.
about that. So like nothing's hidden anymore. Like everything
Right,
is being spoken out and
right,
they're telling you. But the problem is when we said before that they were trying to do the great reset, remember, like you're a conspiracy theorist, you know,
right.
this is that, right? So now that this is happening and now that they're saying it, why do you think people aren't getting it?
Because it's too far. I think it's
Too
because
far.
it's too far. They don't want to accept it. It's too encompassing. It covers every basis. This right here is every greatest fear of every American citizen. And a lot of people don't want to accept it, that it's happening right now.
And what
We are
is that?
losing our country. We are losing our country. We are losing our freedoms, our sovereignty, our opportunity for sovereignty. Any illusion in which that because we can get into the arbitrary argument of, oh, we didn't really have freedom, oh, we didn't really have sovereignty because we don't own our own property in the Federal Reserve. Cool. You had the illusion of it. You were able to lie to yourself to convince yourself in which that you were free. So guess what? You were free to an extent. But if this shit passes, all of those choices, all of those opportunities, all of those options off of the table. If the establishment does not deem you worthy to get or have those opportunities or options, you don't get them. And you want to send your complaints to upper management at that time? Fucking good luck.
Yeah.
And I'm serious because
Right.
that's how egotistical we are. That's how narcissistic we are as American people. We think, oh, this could never happen. And then as soon as it does happen, what do we want to do? Let me talk to a manager. Who who are you going to talk to at this point? Who are you going to go to at this point? Who are you going to petition? You can't. Oh, boom, your constitutional right to petition the government gone because your government is the United Nations. Your government is the World Economic Forum.
Yeah. In the chat, they said the entire left leaning civilization will think it's a great idea. They stand with corrupt
Right,
countries. With the same ideal ideologies, the American loving patriots will be stuck to clean it up.
right. The leftists literally ask, what is so bad about globalism? It's over. It's over. For them, it's over. It's over. It's over. They won't even see it. They're not going to see it until, like I said, that box drops over their head. And that's the worst fucking part.
Yeah.
That's the worst fucking part.
Yes. It's like, yeah. And remember, I said, we'll be standing on the box. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like,
right.
we'll be
But
standing on it.
it's like watching your fellow man die by 1,000 paper cuts that
Right.
they're giving themselves. We are witnessing them
And you
killing
know,
themselves willingly, and they don't even realize it.
and they don't, and you're right, because even in the chat, they said, I don't think people believe it's because they've never experienced something like this before. And that's the same thing that I said today, because we've
Right,
never experienced anything like this before. No one's ever really tried to strip our freedoms and our powers and our ability to make decisions for ourselves away.
right, right,
Right. And
right,
we're seeing it kind of like in this abortion situation, right? So it's like the leftists, the hard leaning left is like your body, your choice, except for if it's contagious, right?
right,
You see what I'm
right,
saying? So it's
right,
like, it's like this double-edged sword. It's like, well, we're going to make you do something because we deem it necessary. But when someone's like, nope, you can't do that. Oh, what do you mean I can't do that?
right,
So we are running uphill with people who obviously will never understand, because these are the same people that think that the current administration is doing a good job. So I guess for me, it's like, what does it really look like if I can't get everyone on board?
right,
You know what I'm saying? What does
right,
that really look like? Because if they do stop the election from happening, midterms, presidency, like whatever, it's a wrap. We're done. That's like checkmate. There's
mm-hmm,
nothing left at that point.
mm-hmm,
I mean, we'll be escaping to, Egypt.
right. And this is the scariest thing, is that what elitists wrote about all the time in the past was that they would keep nations of people fighting with themselves, make them so confused that they wouldn't know where to look. And then at the time when they least expected it, which would be right now, they would do their final move, and that it would be such a massive show of power and ultra power. The people would be so fearful that they would have no other option other than to comply. And it's really terrifying, because how many times have you heard the phrase of people saying that we've exhausted all of our options?
Right.
We've protested. We've tried the legal way. We've tried courts. We've tried to go the constitutional route. We've gotten mad. We've gotten in the streets. We've pushed back against leftists. We've pushed back against our politicians. What did it really do at the end of the day? What did it really change? What did it stop?
All right, because you, like you said today, they're still walking around free.
And they're still doing these deals. And now they're expediting. What better time to enslave a populace other than when they can't get their minds together? We can't,
Right.
and we physically cannot. It will not happen. Not in the current state of this country. It won't happen. We have black supremacists running around like we're back in the late 1900s, and we got white supremacists running around like we're back in the 19 fucking 30s, right?
Yeah. Right. Right.
Because they pushed them to that point. They have pushed people to that point. They've pushed them
Because
to that radical
everything
point.
is extreme, right? Somebody just said in the chat, the live cam at the White House is now weird. They said, "What is happening?"
I haven't even seen the video that people are talking about of a certain somebody walking into the White House, that the former president. I haven't even seen that, because
Let's see. We can pull
I
up the
can't
White
get
House
my
live
mind
stream.
off of this. I just can't get my mind off of this, because like y'all, when I tell y'all that I'm scared and I'm nervous, like I have this fucking gut feeling that I'm looking at the playbook right now, and I see them preparing for a Hail Mary, and our defensive line is fucking picking daisies and guessing what shape the clouds are.
Oh, she's. They're saying that there's a lot. There's a purple light and a lot of like activity on the
So
road.
I'm at a
Oh,
beachside hotel. As you
sorry
can
about that.
see, I'm pretty
No, you're good.
relaxed. I'm someone who likes sand.
I didn't think the ad would start playing. Um, well, and I think too, Mikey, like honestly, when people, I don't know, like I said, we've never lost our freedoms. No one's really ever threatened our freedoms. No one's ever really said, hey, this is what we're going to do to you. But the thing is, no one is talking about what they're trying to do to us. So when you're put in a position of like being naive and not really looking and not digging and not paying attention, it's very easy to become complacent and just lay here, because why would they do this?
Right.
They've never done it before. Why would they do it now? So how does that look, right? And like you say, if you're scared, what does that say?
Well, and I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to make anybody, you know, paranoid or anything of that nature, but it's just a lot of people look to me for answers. A lot of people, expect me to be able to dissect something or to give an optimistic view. And I was not ready to see that kind of a plan implemented, and to see the United States going heel and toe step directly with it. This has caught me completely off guard. I obviously have known that these power structures have existed. I've done nothing more than spend all of my time trying to expose them. But nothing could have prepared me for this, just being able to just blatantly be put into action and nobody talk about it. If it would be one thing if I heard constant pushback, if I heard politicians bringing it up when it was first introduced.
Right.
None of them did. None of them.
So here, let's have this conversation. Let's play devil's advocate, right? So do you think they're unaware?
I think some are.
I mean, does that make sense, right? So it's like, are
right.
they just really not like aware of like what is really, I mean, where is this information? Like, you know, where is it provided? I mean, is this just like these committees come together and they say, oh, this is what we're going to do, or this is what we want to do? I mean, it's like this, what is this disinformation bullshit, right? So remember, we talked about that today, right? So they put this committee in place. Oh boy. Hey. They put that in place, right? So they say, you know, and we talked about everything that would be disinformation, right? So if you want to be herbal or, you know, whatever, that's disinformation. Yep. So maybe that was like the precursor, right? So if we say, we deem this not to be true, we deem this to be false, maybe that was the start, because with everything with COVID and all the truth starting to come out and all the information being released, maybe that's their way of silencing, because I just find this is really going on and people, there's not somebody who finds this to be uncomfortable.
Well, this is the thing, right? Is that everything that this outlines is directly what Judy Mikovits warned of years ago. Dr. Judy Mikovits that worked for Fauci. When she first had that video that went viral at the beginning of the pandemic, where she was warning about use of medical overreach, government overreach through those means, and the introduction of FEMA, where was she lying? People have been trying to say this, but it's from years back. And then it got to die out. And then as soon as nobody was talking about it anymore, nobody was focused on it, what'd they do? Boom, implement it, because that's their niche. Is the second that something gets out of the mainstream sphere, the talking points, the second that they dwindle out, boom, implement it. Because then nobody's thinking about it anymore. What?
Did you talk to T-Rex? We should. I haven't seen him on. Should have probably. Brian just said we should have gotten T-Rex in here. I haven't talked to him.
Yeah, I didn't see him on the app today. It's just I wanted to get him in here. I just forgot to call him. Y'all, when I tell you that this is mentally wearing me out, I took a fucking nap. I took a nap after sitting there on a live, trying to explain to people what the fuck, and just getting beaten over the head with denial, communism, and racism. That shit is exhausting, especially right now, when it matters more than ever that we stop dividing ourselves.
Yeah, Snacks is here. Hold on.
Snacks.
You can take a bite out of your food.
What's going on, man?
What's up? Y'all can see me?
We can see you. Yes, we can.
Okay.
And we can hear you.
Okay. I can't see nothing.
Yet again, goddamn.
You never can see anything, but it's cool. We're over here talking about this WHO stuff, and it's got Mikey exhausted. He taking naps and looking all sad about the face and whatnot.
Just don't know what to do. Everybody asks me for answers, and I just don't know what to do, and I hate it. I don't like telling people I don't know, and I hate not having the answer. I hate it.
There we go.
You feel better
I just don't understand why. All right, I guess.
What you want to add to this conversation? Oh, and he's gone again. I don't know what to do with that because he's gone again.
But no, it's just a lot of people ask me for answers. A lot of people look to me to help them figure shit out, and I don't like not having the answer. I don't like telling people I don't know, or when they come to me really scared, because a lot of people come to me scared and they're like, what do we do with this? Like, I have kids, my husband is in a medical condition and we don't know what we're going to be able to do. How are we possibly able to be prepared for this?
Well,
and I don't know what to, and I don't know what the fuck to say. I've been telling people to prep for months. I've been telling people to be prepared for something for months. And
well, I think honestly, if we look at it truly, people are in denial. You can't tell me that people don't think that they could take our freedoms. You can't tell me that people don't believe that they can just stroke their pen and everything as you know it changes because you were sleeping.
Right.
It's the same old thing we've always been dealing with. It's like when you're people like us who look forward. Like you understand, this is an impulsive generation. They want immediate satisfaction for things. They don't never look ahead. When you're people like us who plan ahead and think, oh, I gotta make this money so I can save for this week coming up and things of that nature. They think about, I'm gonna get as much money as I can now, blow through it because more will come. But when people like that who think ahead, and we see things coming, like we see these things before they happen. I've been imploring people to get prepared and things of that nature. So now it's like, if you didn't heed the knowledge, that's your fault. And that's why I say a lot of this aligns religiously, because all the other prophets and all biblical, Quranic, all that always warn the people of things to come. Then when the things come, they said, oh, well, we wasn't ready. Well, I told you it was going to happen.
Right.
Noah built his ark for 900 years telling him it was going to flood. And nobody said, why is this old man? They said every generation warned about that old man Noah. And he kept telling them. But then they started realizing, well, how did this man live for 900 years building his ark? Like, it wasn't weird to you that he's lived for 900 years? Evidently, he might know something.
Right.
Like, what? But stupid.
But the thing is, think about it like this, right? So you always say you're saving for a future you may not have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the grand scheme of things, we are now at a pivotal place in life, right? So we are literally at a place where money doesn't matter. Nothing matters because we're not going to have freedoms anyways, and we ain't going to be able to spend $1. We are going to be locked up, chained up, and in boxes like animals in a zoo. So
we already lost $1, though. That's the problem. The dollar is number 7 on the currency.
Right.
Do you know what that means? Pesos is worth more than $1.
Yeah,
if you take $1 to Mexico right now, $1 is worth 13 cents.
Okay, but even just last June, when I was in Ireland, when I was in Europe, the American dollar is worth nothing. When you do your conversion, so I took $500 American dollars, convert it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like $350.
Right.
And you're like, what just happened? Right. What just happened? Right? Because now you feel like they robbing and stealing, right? You're like, wait a minute, I gave you $500. How I only got $350?
Right. There was this movie not a long time ago, called Euro Trip, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a funny movie, right? And they ran out of money and they were overseas in like Amsterdam, right? And they put all their money together, they anteed up, and they had like 37 cents, right? Yeah. It's like, what could we possibly get with 37 cents? And when they realized what the money was compared to from American money to their money, they went and got tuxedos and started thinking about buying stuff. And then he gave a dude a nickel for a tip. The guy said, well, you're going to take that tip? He slapped him in his face and said, I'm opening my own restaurant. You know what I mean? And it's crazy.
Because even though a lot of Americans moved into Europe because the American dollar was worth more at the time, right? They moved to Europe because it essentially made them wealthy. because when you converted the American dollar over, it was more. Now,
Right.
now it's like, yeah, same when I went to Greece, gave 1,000, that's Christina, and got 650 euros back, right? So
Right.
it's like people are not, and we were discussing this earlier, they're not paying attention to what's going on around the world. They're
Right.
just here, stuck in America.
And my problem is it's not even actually Americans. It's the youth. The ages from like 20 to about, I'm gonna say 34, 35, or just, and Mikey's the exception to the rule, and him and a lot of other people. But other than that, young people, whatever indoctrination they used on them, it worked, because it's like I've never seen anything like this. Because it's really sad, and I've been saying this, and I must feel like a broken record, but now they're seeing what I'm saying. It's going to get to a point where women and children are going to need to be protected, and the men who's in charge of that, on the vast majority of the young people, with societies is always dependent on wars and everything, always is dependent on young men. The young men we have are not built for this. We're going to go to war with all these countries, and it's going to be a whole bunch of Gen X on the front line.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. And what's crazy is going to be a lot of front lines of Gen X women, because there are more men than the biological men we have.
Yeah, we're a beast.
Right. And it should never be that way.
Yeah, it's Snacks. Christina said, yo, watch it, Snacks. I'm 30.
But you're on our side, so you're exception too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you know, when I think about it too, it's like, it's kind of one of those situations where you say, and I told Mikey, I use the Terminator theme, right? So like, I'm Sarah Connor and he's like my kid, and you know, us Gen Xers, we bring it to the front line, and then it's his job to, you know, bring it home. And essentially we are losing, and I think it was Mandingo that said earlier that they're softening our youth, right?
Right.
To keep them from being the fighters, right? And I've never seen people so easily brainwashed. I mean, and I will keep saying it, COVID was a shocker to me. The fact that these people rolled over and complied so effortlessly was like, whoa. But they spent 4 years, because Mikey and I talked about this. Oh, well, there he goes again. If he leave the phone alone and stop playing with it, he'd be all right. Watch, he's gonna come right back. It's like he's pushing on buttons, and you know, here you go. Look, here he come. We gonna look at here now. Leave the phone alone.
I'm not messing with the phone. This shit keeps, every time I'm trying to turn this shit off, every time I get a phone call, which is stressing me out, because my son hates my guts, and I hate him too right now.
But it's like, when you start to look at the whole grand scheme of what we got going on, when COVID happened and people were just like, oh yeah, you know, they went willingly into their house. They went willingly letting their people die alone in the hospital. They were wiping off their groceries. They were wearing 7 masks. They like everything they said do, these morons did. They did it. So
but they did that for a reason though, Keisha. And I see it now. They were trying to separate the patriot. Everything they did, they wanted to separate the patriot. What they did with the military, people who didn't comply to the vaccine got put out of the military, because they want people in there that's going to comply regardless.
Right.
And the ones that didn't comply were the ones, because they know if they keep a whole bunch of people who are not going to comply in the military, when they try to force their nonsense on them, they're going to be like, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We, the people, they left as soon as they had to comply, because they're real patriots. Not saying that the people who's there is still not patriots. It's just that they did everything to separate the herd. They did unjust shit to us just to see who would comply to the nonsense.
And then what better way to target your enemy?
Right.
What better way to isolate? What better way to isolate your enemy? Get them to see. This is the dance in which that we are playing right now. Is yes, we want to be loud and boisterous, and we want to make it known that the people are not going to stand with the establishment and that we will push back. But at the same time, the more that we're loud and boisterous and the more that we are doing that, we are showing them who their enemy is. We are giving them ammo because they know who we are. They know who we're tied to. They know the groups that talk like this. They know what they call themselves. They know what we call ourselves.
I'm live all week.
They're taking all of these notes. And if you think that they're not, you're lying to yourself. It's the same thing, like I said, when we look back at the historical events, the most atrocious. We look back at them with notes of how did this get so bad. They look back on it and take notes of how was this not allowed to continue.
Listen, I quit my job. I quit my job at the forklift, driving the forklift. I knew I was going to quit it anyway because I'm be honest about it. Social media is going to be my job forever now because I told the AGI, but this is my job now. Now I got contracts back, and my oldest son is actually doing a decent, mediocre job at running things without me. But I still can call him and stuff like that. But my thing is, you will always hear my words and hear my voice. I am not going to be the kind of person that's going to fall for this and comply. And I don't care what happens because my thing is, this is going to be a war, bro. War is a nice word of what's going to happen. Because if this country gets controlled by all those countries, it's going to be worse than when England owned this place. Because think about it. If you think about like the movie Troy, right? Remember Agamemnon, the king Agamemnon? He was the king. But there was kings in every country still subservient to him.
Right.
That's what we're going to be under. We're going to be owned by basically the UN, and Agamemnon is the UN, and Biden is going to be under the control of that. Right. So the head of that is going to be pure evil. And the thing is, it's to the point where they're getting exposed for their evil anyway, the evil that they've been doing. But they don't care because they know that they're about to be in power and there's no one that can touch them.
Well, think about it like this too, right? So those of us who are rising up and those of us who are talking and even like being in this room right now, us together, we are the target, right? So now we have to keep our platforms like, where they're trying to silence us because obviously that's where we can like appeal to the masses.
Right.
Then we venture out into spaces like this where we say, no, now we're going to speak the truth. So now we're going to drag those people into a different space. It's like it's like a exclusive club, right? And we say, no, we're going to invite you to our club and we're going to invite you to this party. And all you got to do is come and listen, pay attention. If we keep doing this, what's
scary about this is, and this is where the religious part is the part that's the factor. Because that's the next thing they're coming after.
Right.
Before it's all said and done, they're going to come after religion. But the only thing about this is, and this is what's scary, all the stuff that other people read. If I give you what the Quran says about what's going on, we've been planning this stuff for 6 years to fight against it. Because we already know the road for the Antichrist, the Dajjal, as we call it, has been paved. It's already been paved for him. Because there was certain events that had to happen first. Every road for evil has to happen first.
Right.
Now, if I tell you about the road that the Prophet Muhammad talked about over 1,400 years ago, he said there will come a time where the evilest of people will dye their head funny colors. Men will not look like women. Men will not look like men, and women will not look like women.
Yeah.
And they also said that the nutrition of the food will give people big bellies, but be of no benefit to them.
Right.
People don't want to talk about what the Quran says, and America alienated the Quran for a long time, made it seem like it was a racist thing, and they never told nobody that the Prophet Muhammad, who all Muslims follow, was a white man. No one ever talks about that because they want you to believe that we're racist.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not even just that. Religion in general, right? So the belief in a higher power, right? So that's what they don't want, right? They want you to worship man. They don't want you to have any type of belief in a higher power outside of what's physically here within the realm. Because spirituality is huge, right? So when you have some type of fundamental belief into something, they can't control you and manipulate you. So if you look at the people who are the hardest going, they're all atheists, right? They tell you, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that, right? They're the ones coming hard. So it's like when you start to really peel back the layers, The reason they want to strip you of anything other than what they tell you is because they cannot control you until
Right.
they do.
Right. Well,
Right.
that's the reason. That's the reason why they want to push out religion, is because it is in the tenets of being a Freemason that you have to have a belief in a higher power, whether that be through Muslim or Judeo
Yeah.
or Christian. You have to have that belief. One
Right.
of the
But
top
all
three,
three of
you
them,
have to have
right.
that belief.
But all three of them are going to lose their religion. They're going to force a fourth religion that everybody has to follow.
Right.
And
Well,
the
yeah,
fourth religion that's everybody has to follow is already here.
right. Well, Israel's already building their third temple. They just came out, it was like last month, and said that they
That's
have officially started building the third temple, which the third temple, if you're not
mhm.
familiar, Keisha, is where the Antichrist will be seated
He
in
will
power.
come up. They say that he will come out of Ashams. Ashams in Arabic is out of the area of Syria, Palestine. All that area is called Ashams. Ashams in Arabic means the place of the rising sun. And the Dome of the Rock, the Israelis, it's actually a masjid that's got the gold top. The reason why it was given the gold top is because that was made after Asham. Ashams meant sun. They were trying to make a dome that looked like the sun on earth. And this is why prophecy, that's why I've been telling people that religion, and this is the thing, I've been studying this for all my life. And the thing is, I didn't change my religions in jail. I changed my religion on the street because I was made to be Christian and I never looked at anything else. I just
Right.
believed what they told me to believe.
Right.
But I'm a natural critical thinker. You're not going to tell me anything that I'm not going to investigate.
But the thing is,
And
though, there's nothing wrong with spirituality, right? And there's nothing wrong with questioning it. But what it does do is it give you some sort of guidance, right? And some place to start. Like Mikey's been saying, we are now in a place where people are just follow the leader, right? They're just
Mhm.
walking like do like little zombies, and they're
Right.
not questioning anything, and they're not paying attention to anything. It's just like, oh, you say this, okay, that's fine. Oh, you say that, oh, that's great. So there's no when you say it's about religion, they're already gone. Like they're already lost, right? So it's really going to come down to the meeting of the mind, right? So we see what's going on. So whether you believe in X, Y, or Z, we are aware and we can see what is going on. The key now is going to be, how do we get others to see and hear? Because we can't alienate them, right? So you start to talk about religion, alienates. You start to talk about that. So how do you say, look, fool, this is where we are, pay attention?
see, I look at that part differently, because the ones that are like that, the ones that who are halfway in, halfway out, and still want to live their certain lifestyle, they're the ones who's getting the sword too. Sorry to say it, they're getting it too. Because I am not, me personally, if I'm fighting a system and you're cooperating with that system, you've become the enemy too. I can't trust you. I can't form a militia with you. The word, with all situations, that all organizations that fought against things, right? The number one problem they had was the problem of implosion. People in their ranks destroying. So the thing is, that's why traitors deserve a death sentence. That's why people who are against the greater good deserve a death sentence, because we can't have them with us. We can't. And my thing is, we have to be honest enough to say that.
I'm honest enough to say it, and Mikey's honest enough to say it, because that's why he needed a nap, because he in these lives fighting with these people because they don't want to hear what he has to say.
Me too. And you know what's beautiful about us doing that? Right. And you know what's beautiful about us doing that? You know what's beautiful about us doing that? When we step in front of our Lord, he was like, you tried. You gave an effort. That's what I want my Lord to say. I'm proud of you for not complying to things that were against me.
Well, and I think too, I think what makes me uncomfortable a little bit is because when Mikey has question and when Mikey has doubt and when Mikey looking how Mikey looking right now, I tend to want to read a little more. I tend to want to look into things a little more, because I mean, there comes a time where I personally could be like removed from it, right? Because I'm just like, I'm over it. Even like when we watched the 2000 Mules over the weekend, right?
Right.
I was so just like taken aback. I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on? Like, they know this shit happened, and they just are blatantly just gonna slap us in our face like this, and nobody gives a fuck. What are we supposed to do with this information now? Like, we're just supposed to all sit around and be like,
Right.
oh, this is make believe.
Listen, imagine my mind state. Getting out of prison 3 years ago, and everything we talked about in prison and Islamic classes and stuff. When I get out of jail, and because mind you, my prison was behind a wall, and I don't know if you know about prisons that's behind a wall. It's unconstitutional now. They can't have you behind a wall. I didn't see a car for 12 years. Basically, I didn't see anything that had to do with life for 12 years. That's why I didn't understand the way people were dressing and things of that nature. So imagine getting out in the world and every single thing you talked about the end times is right in front of your face. Everything that you've never seen before in life or in America is happening right in front of your face, and it's aligning perfectly with the stuff that you read. It will scare the hell out of you. The fact is, now I see this.
You know, it's they were saying that the CDC or whatever paid money to track people on their cell phones for vaccines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's even like that, right? We're so connected to these devices. We're so connected to everything. Like, our lives have become cell phones and laptops and computers. Like I was telling Mikey, he lives in an era where all the information's at your fingertips, where we had to take our ass to the library and read it and pull like the cards out of the out of the little finder and go find the book.
Right.
And it's scary to me. It's so scary to me.
Yeah, but even that, right? Think about that. It's like they make it easy for you to find the information, but they make it hard for you to find the information.
Right. But the thing is, and the CDC and all that kind of stuff, it's horrible. It's horrible what they're doing. And like my dad, y'all see my videos over the weekend, right? I went out for Mother's Day and stuff, hanging out with my parents and my brother and stuff. And my father, we actually had sat down and talked, and I hated that him and my mom got vaccinated, right? And I hate it. I'm gonna get to the story. Hold on a second. I got to the we were talking, and my dad was like, he wished he never would have got the vaccine. And I said, what you mean, Pop? What you mean you never got the vaccine? He said, you realize I haven't been able to walk since then. Because my dad can walk. My dad can walk, but he can only walk in spurts. Like, he can walk. Like, if he stands up and he gets going and everything stretched out, he can walk. And I never even correlated it. I was like, what do you mean, Dad? He's like, you realize 2 weeks after I got the vaccine was when I went to the hospital and they told me that my joints were locking up. My father has always been the kind of person who would walk my mom to the mailbox and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now it hurts him to his heart that he can't walk to the mailbox. Nothing's wrong with my mom. My mom's still doing what she do. She still go bowling and everything. But my dad is like depressed because he doesn't feel like he's able to do the things that he used to do with his wife. And it's sad because.
But that was it, though. People didn't think that they would do harm to us, and that's what they used it for.
Right.
And to help break down the population. Right. So as Mikey's over there napping on us, Mikey, why don't you close this up for us and tell us what we should be preparing for over the next 12 days and what we should be doing? Because I know you're mentally tapped, so let me help you.
Rally yourself around those that you love. Tell people that it's time that we put all of these differences aside. All of them. Race, sexuality, gender, abortion, all of it. Get food if you can. If you don't have a generator already, you're behind. Pray.
Right.
And prepare. Prepare. That's literally all. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I want to say something.
In 12 days, it's going to be implemented, or if we're going to have to wait. So it's just be prepared.
I think that we need to have rally points. I think we need to have places where if the grid goes down and there's no more power and no more Wi-Fi, we should automatically have spots with longitude and latitude that we can meet up with. We need to have these all over the place. So, for instance, if I know that, all right, like for instance, you ever watch those movies where people were destitute and they were in the streets and they didn't have nowhere to go? Then they would pick up a radio station and be like, "Meet us here if you want safety. Meet us
Right.
here if you want food." We
Right.
need those immediately because if you have those, that is the beginning to organization. That is the beginning to militia. And militia is is needed more than anything. No matter what your race, religion, or creed, or whatever sexuality, we need people that's going to have to fight. But see, the thing is that our fight is going to be so hard because the thing is, we're not. If you notice, I don't know what's going on in y'all cities, but here in this liberal state of Pennsylvania, they already have people here that's from another country dictating certain things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all went through Pennsylvania tolls now, but when you go through tolls, it's different. You pay your money and then they ask you questions to the point where the toll parts are backed up. And what's sad is it's so hard to get money out of your bank. And I was smart enough to yank mine out anyway because it's basically firewood now
Yeah.
because I know exactly what it is. And the thing is, I don't have enough silver. I bought enough. But the thing is, I implored people over and over to buy silver. Now it is so hard to buy silver. It is so ridiculously hard to get any kind of raw resources because they know that the dollar is not worth these resources.
But you know what? Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to be in a place of, if it really gets to that point, none of it's going to matter. It's going to be rob, steal, kill, fight, right? And
Right.
it's
So
it's very discouraging when the man with all the answers is looking how he looks.
I'm not,
Right.
and I'm not trying to. I'm not.
No, but
Like
no,
I
it's
said,
not that,
I'm not.
Mikey.
I know,
It's
but I'm
just
not trying
that
to fear mongering. It's just, I just,
it's not fear mongering. It's really important that people see and hear that this is real. And if this happens, the life as we know it could be destroyed. And
so
we're just in that place.
what I want to do, what I'm going to do all this week is I'm going to find out what states everybody is in and see if anybody is brave enough to say, "Oh, I got a rally point. We can meet up so and so in this." Give me the longitude and latitude, and I'm gonna write it down, and then I'm gonna distribute it all over the place, so people know that there are safe spots to go to, but they got to be legit safe spots. Like for instance, I'm on parole, but I'm gonna violate parole. I know it because I am going to leave. I'm going to leave.
Okay, you can't be
I'm
saying that
not
out
staying
loud.
here. Huh?
You can't be saying that out loud onto the world.
I don't care. My parole officer knows. I don't care. You think I care about parole? Parole is a moot point right now. Like parole don't mean shit right now. I don't care about parole. I am not getting locked up underneath no other country's rules. I'm not.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to my house. Somebody comes to my house wanting to take me anywhere. Guess what's going to happen, bro?
Yeah.
It's not going to go well for you because right now I know exactly what needs to be done. People need to be able to think and live without electronics and Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Flat out. You need to go ahead and know what it's like to live without those things. Because as soon as that grid goes down, panic is going to happen. When panic happens,
though, the Gen Xers are the last breed that can read a map. That even
right?
knows what a map is. Like, I mean, essentially, Mikey's been on, Google Maps his whole life. Like, he's never had to crack a map book and open it up and be like, oh, okay, we got to drive on this route that way. Like, that's not happening. So, like, Gen X is it. We are it. And we can survive on nothing. We drink out of water hoses. Like, we are it. We are it. This is it. So, at the end of the day, we have to supply the information because I would like to hope that, they can't take us down that fast.
Mm-hmm.
And supply the information, and people need to just be aware and awake. And if they're not, I don't know what to say at this point.
And Gen X and people who aren't Gen X who are for our struggle, start writing things in cursive.
There you go.
Write things in cursive. When you have messages packing back and forth to each other, write that shit in cursive. That'll weed out a lot of these compliant young people because it's true. Mike is, like I said, he's the heir to the rule. But you got to think. That's one way to show that you're not who we need right now. Because if anything, I would never let anybody young, like Mike's age, Not saying you, Mike, but I'm saying your age be in charge of
Right.
anything
Right.
organizationally. Now,
Right.
if me, you, and Keisha were together on something, absolutely. But there was no way I could be able to trust a young person who's not you
No, I
leading
know.
any kind of organization
Right.
because they're too easy to comply. They're too easy to comply. We
Yeah.
need people, and people say, "Oh, well, Snacks, why are you always yelling and getting passionate?" The reason why is because I seen all this shit coming.
Yeah.
They called me all sorts of shit. Called me coon and nutball and crazy and all this kind of shit because I said, and Keisha said this too. She was with me on this, and she's still with me on this. We can't fight these motherfuckers with the biological men we have now. Our young men are pussies. They didn't grow up getting punched in the face.
That part.
You need somebody who can't wait to crush skulls of whoever, the Japanese or the Chinese, that come over here.
Facts.
You don't need motherfuckers that want to learn how to put a weave in and shit.
Well, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end. We gonna end it here. I'm gonna say this to Mikey. You ain't got nothing to worry about, homie. Gen X has got this. You ain't got nothing.
Right.
To worry. We gonna get it together. You know, everything is designed to weaken us, and fear makes you weak.
I'm trying to figure out how I can get my parents out there with me, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. I had to.
And we're all like, that's why I say get centralized. That's why going to Texas
Right.
is better because it brings you into the center, right? So you're not on the outskirts. If you come into the middle, everything's got to come to you, right?
Right, and it's
So
sad
that's why
because
we need to centralize.
it's sad because I don't want, like, right now. I'm not even focused on a relationship. I don't want a relationship or not right now. I got too much shit to worry about. Fuck a relationship right now. And I was thinking about diving into one, but I don't care. I don't care how people feel about me. I don't need that. I need to get focused. And if that comes in the result of me getting focused, all right. But I'm not looking for it. There's other things I need to worry about right now.
No, partnerships are great. We all need partnerships, like, right? So we all need to come together and whatever these partnerships and however they look, and we need to come together and we need to build something that's solid. And so now this is it. This is where we're at. And with that being
my
said,
thing is right.
Go ahead. With that, go ahead.
I'm not going, Keisha.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm getting.
Now, what I'm saying is, with that being said, and I agree with that. But my thing is, I am not going to let anybody pull me down from my focus. And that a lot of times, I'm not going to start a new relationship with anyone because I don't need it. What I need is to be focused. And the thing is, if I can restrict myself, I've restricted myself this long. I'm not in a rush for it. I mean, it hurts people's feelings, but I don't care. I see things differently. Sometimes you got to be selfish and say, well, I got to get me right. Fuck the rest of this shit. And my thing is this, like, my parents are old and it scares the fuck out of me if that does happen. I got to protect them too. So whatever woman I ever get with, she's going to have to know that my mom and my kids are going to be my focus. You know, and it's sad because I'm already a person that's hard to get with anyway, because I'm just busy constantly, and I'm focused right now. Like I'm saying, I'm going on live because I want this information out. The same thing that we're talking about right now, the American people want to know and need to know.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about.
They need to know this shit.
I mean, that's why we're talking about it. And my poor Mikey, he got me over here looking all sad about my face because he just lost, looking all like the world's coming to an end. I ain't never seen Mikey.
It's exhausting.
Yeah,
it's exhausting.
It's just like I said. It just sucks to think that we were fighting such a and we have been, and we still are. It's not that we're not fighting a good fight, but it's to think that everything that we thought we were doing that was boosting our morale, we're finding out was worth nine.
Right.
It was nothing. It was
like
nothing. Everything that we used to build our morale was another facade. It was another veil of deception that we allowed ourselves to fall into, thinking, "Oh, we're on them. We're on them this time." No.
It's crushing me, bro. Like sometimes I leave the lives and it'd be like, are they really thinking like that?
Right.
Are you really? And it's exhausting because like I changed my whole approach to things because it's like people do want the information, but they're scared to go against their friends. They're scared to go against their family. Like we had a girl on the other night. Like I just left. We just left. I just left AJ's live, and we had 2,500 people in there. And we were going in. We were going in, and I said, like, I'm sitting here like listening to people say something. This guy came in there and he said, well, I don't think there's nothing wrong with killing fetuses. What mother? Like, and I be holding myself back, but this shit hurts.
Well,
how we minimalize life.
Yeah, I want to say this, Mikey. They say, Mike, Christina says, keep your head up. We need you. God gives his strongest soldiers the toughest battles.
What happened, bro? Like, what the fuck happened?
No, he's struggling with this, but that's okay.
I just don't know how to gravitate with this, Snacks. I have the answer for so many other things. When I see them, I can say, okay, this is going on, but this is something that is a reactive force that we can at least look to as optimism. We have none of that. I know
exactly what you're going through, because what's crazy is I went through that hard 3 years ago, like now maybe about 2 years ago, because I started thinking like, how do I become the voice to tell people what's going on? And the thing is, like, I was mad because like when I first got on TikTok 2 years ago, right? I first got on TikTok, my shit was all comedy. It was all comedy. I'm a natural comedian. I was doing all comedy. My shit bubbled. I wasn't worried about the conservative part until people started coming in talking shit about the conservative party. I like let them know I'm a conservative. Then I went from 160,000 and they destroyed my account. Then I came back with conservative and funny shit. They destroyed that account. Then when I went straight conservative, I didn't get above 30,000 ever again because of my political. Now I know that the government's the one that stops that. Then I started thinking, why is the government trying to stop people? Think about it. They made me change my name, and you change your name. I had to change my name. I was called Snackservative, Snacks the Patriot, all these patriotical names. They made me change my username. So I said, how is this offensive? So then I started thinking that the government is part of the system. People don't really understand that.
Well, it's and to say that so we can end this. The thing is this, right? They don't want people to find us. So if they make us move it out of our name, they don't know who we are.
Right.
And that's what they want. The biggest power and the biggest control is of the mind. If you don't know who those people are, the ones that are going to be like, nah, you got me fucked up, homie. Why else would they want us to change our names, right? You can be everything, but you can't be a patriot. You can't be a conservative. There's a reason. Because they don't want you to know who we are.
That's right. They wasn't, remember Keisha, when back when we were cool, let's just say, I don't know how I said it, but when we were cool or whatever, I had a page where they never did, you know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get at it. I had a page where there was no views. Like they weren't viewing my page. They weren't viewing none of my content. Like no matter how many videos I put, I would look in the corner and it would say no views, no views, no views, no views, right? Then like one day a switch turned and then they started giving me views. Like right now, the switch just turned like 3 days ago. Now my shit's bubbling. I'm getting 1,000 followers a day just because they're playing my videos. So I'm thinking like, why do I got to wait so long for them to play my videos? And I realized why. Because they don't want people to hear the information that we're saying.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And then like Keisha, like I noticed on your page that you're getting shadow banned. You got 100-something thousand followers. You're getting shadow banned at 100,000. You're going through what Millennial Spike Lee used to call me and talk about all the time. That once he got up there, they gave him ultimatums. They started saying, well, like do this, and he refused. And he's going through these things.
Well, no one ever approached me with anything, but what I've had to start doing because they're coming from my account is my I've started to privatize my videos, right? So now I'm just pulling all my videos out. So that's why now when you go to my page, I might have 5 videos because I'm starting to privatize my videos because they're coming from my account. They're trying to take it. So at this point, it's not about I'm going to always get traction, right? I'm always going to get traction. I could do 30,000 views. I can do 50,000. I could do 100,000. I'll get that. The thing is, my platform is no longer about views. It's deeper now. You know, so like now I'm sitting on, I'm a district chair. I've been elected into a district chair. It's getting deeper now. So like the platform is it's different. It's gonna look different.
In your state?
Yes, in my state.
You gotta look, and you're leaving.
Yeah, eventually.
They're gonna need. Oh well, all right.
Yeah,
I can't.
eventually.
I can't be a politician. So
He
Yeah,
said, "Oh,
eventually.
all
But
right."
I mean, ultimately, it's like now it's we're being put in places to do big things, right? To really help lead the people. So right now, that's where my focus is at. I'm not really worried about the views. I mean, you figure I haven't posted a video until today in like 5 days because I know what's happening on TikTok, right? So we're going to use TikTok to step onto other things. We're going to use TikTok to build other things. So at this point, I don't really give a shit because it's about to get real. But with that being said, I'm about to cut my boy Mikey loose so he can eat his dinner.
Yeah, I was about to go garden first too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then garden and
I gardened already.
Oh, he already gardened. Okay, well you gardeners do you, and we're gonna end on a high note, and we'll see you guys all again.
Yeah. Hey, I love you guys. I love you guys. I'm sorry that I'm definitely it caught me off guard. I'm not trying to bring doom and gloom. I love all of you guys. I know that we still have a fight ahead of us. I'm not giving up. I never will give up. It's just a morale knock. It's a knock to morale with seeing things like this. So
Bro, I already know how you're feeling. I feel like that all the time, man. And it's like it's exhausting. Because I spend a lot of energy yelling at people. I honestly do. I expend a lot of energy, and it's hard because they don't understand where I'm coming from. It's coming from a place of love.
yeah, your mic audio kind of cut
went
away.
out, but okay, we're gonna have a good one. Good night, everybody. All right. Thanks for coming on, Snacks. I appreciate you.
Dope ass
You all right?
outro. Huh?